eBEFOREi video reviews back to talk about something very interesting I found in my local Toys R Us. The Asian exclusive Generations Transformers Deluxe Cliffjumper. That's right. He's Cliffjumper and he's in an Asia exclusive box. And US Toys R Us exclusive, and that's where I found him. So here you can clearly see Transformer, I'm just kidding, I have no idea. I think that says Transformers. Generations, very classic G1 face there of Cliffjumper. Level 2, which I think this guy might be a bit harder than a 2. This is the same mold as the first edition Transformers Prime Cliffjumper, albeit with a G1 head. So this is a first edition Cliffjumper mold, but the head sculpt is going to be a bit different here. So we'll take a look at that. On the side you have the Autobot symbol. On the other side, Deluxe, let's read this. Deluxe Class. Or is it Deluxe Class? I don't know. Someone tell me. If I'm going to read this, is it from here to here? Or is it from here to here? I would like to know that. On the back, you've got a very cool picture of Cliffjumper. Generation 1 head, as I mentioned. Very neat. 2-in-1. There's his vehicle mode and his tech specs. Let's read his bio here, if I could focus in on it.
Cliffjumper has more fight in him than any other 3 Autobots combined. Brash, bold, and aggressive, he ignores his small size and weak armor in favor of just charging in and hoping for the best. No other Autobot has won so many fights through sheer attitude alone.
Technical specs. His strength is a 4. Let's see if I can get this clear. His intelligence is a 4. Speed is a 7. He's very fast. Endurance 4. He gets tired very easily. Rank is a 5. Courage is a 10. That is fantastic. Fire Blast is a 7, and his skill is a 5. On the bottom, who are we going to advertise? It's Springer. Very neat. Anyway, that's the box for Cliffjumper. Let's open him up, and let's see if he's cool. Or maybe he's not cool. I don't know. We'll see. This is Cliffjumper out of his packaging, and man, does he look good. This is a good-looking vehicle. Now, again, if you have first edition, it really doesn't look any different except for the color of the red. I believe that this red is a little bit darker, and I'll compare him with RID in a minute, and you'll see what I mean. Looking at the figure all around, he's got very nice painted wheels. So very well done there. You have a small little Autobot symbol, but it is painted. Looks great. You have nice painted front here on the grille. You also have translucent blue headlights, and you can't really see that too well, I don't think, in this camera angle. But when we get him into robot mode, I think you'll see that that looks great on him. Again, on the side, you have, again, the painted wheels and the painted little mufflers right here. And then on the back, you have a nice silver all the way across painted look to it, which looks pretty good. You got the blue translucent windows, so this is a really, really nice-looking vehicle, and I highly recommend just displaying this guy on the shelf in vehicle mode. I think he looks great. Now, one thing that you can't just assume that your Transformer is going to roll well, but this guy rolls fantastic. He's straight when I'm not flinging him in different directions, but he rolls really well. There's nothing scraping on the bottom. You've got lots of clearance under there, so yeah, that's really good. The horns are plastic, kind of a soft plastic here, so you probably won't poke your eye out. On the bottom, yeah, you've got some kibble. You've got some robot hands and such, and the head's kind of tucked up under here, but not too bad. From the back, also you got the little mufflers in there, so you can see, come on camera, so you can see the mufflers here kind of coming off the arms, which make it look a lot less like arm kibble from the back and make it look a lot more like it's just the muffler components hanging down. So that's a nice touch. Comparing him with RID Cliffjumper, you can see right off the bat that the color on these two figures is not the same. One is a light red and one is a darker red. So I really do like the darker red on the GDO Cliffjumper. And I think he's even darker than the first edition Prime Cliffjumper, I think. So there's that. You do also have paint. I should mention that these are painted panels on the top, and then you've got the red plastic on the sides, but it blends together very, very well. On this hood, you've got kind of a fleck metallic kind of in the paint mold, or in the plastic mold, excuse me. And it looks, maybe on camera it looks like a flaw, but I think it looks great in hand. It's just got a nice marbling and such. So I like that quite a bit. I will say that on the other side of Cliffjumper, and I'm just noticing this, so you've got the raised area where the Autobot symbol is, right there. On the other side, you still have the raised area, but no Autobot symbol painted on. I wonder why they did that. Because everything else is duplicated. You've got paint and paint, wheels and wheels, but no Autobot symbol here. Not sure what that's about. Comparing these guys, you know, the RID Cliffjumper has the painted headlamps, which I think look great, but RID Cliffjumper has the separation right in the middle of the front grille, and the first edition, or in my case, the GDO version, does not have that. So I think that looks really good. On the back, they did the dark paint on RID and silver straight across on the other guy. I don't think I have a preference here. They both look good and unique in their own way. Outside of that, these characters are very, very similar looking, but man, do they transform differently. I mean, completely different. Looking underneath, you can kind of see that, where on RID Cliff, the head is at the front end of the vehicle, and on this guy, the head is more closer to this side. Arms are the front panels here, arms are on the back here. The feet on this figure are up front, the arms on this figure are in front, and the feet are right here. So these guys are really completely different as far as their transformations are concerned. And I'll tell you, if you're a fan of the Cliffjumper character, there's no reason really not to have all three in your collection. This one pays a great homage to original Cliffjumper, so it's nice to have the head sculpt on this guy. Whereas this one, I think, matches the television show great, as does the first edition Prime. So yeah, like Cliffjumper, no problems here. Let's get into the transformation. As I mentioned, that I really do think that the transformation of this vehicle is beyond the scope of a 2 out of 5. I'd probably put it in a 3, 3.5 to 4. I mean, there's a few bit of steps here, but we'll go through that. Like most Transformers, what you want to do is you want to just start separating things. So you want to get in here and just kind of separate as much as you can. Get the door panels unhinged on both sides, and then bring these arms, or feet, excuse me, down just as far as you can without breaking anything. And I think you're in good shape if you can get that far. Next thing you want to do is just flip these things up, and if you go backwards, you won't break it, like I almost tried to do. So flip these guys back and stick them straight up in the air like that. Okay? I keep calling these arms, but yes, the feet. Then you want to kind of lift this toe up and get it right out. You kind of have to lift it out and then pull it back, or pull it straight up. And then you want to take these pieces here and you want to link them together. Oh, and before we do that, you've got this little plastic bit of the door. You want to curve these all the way inside on both sides here. And then you can work on building your leg. And it does snap into place. So keep pushing it until you hear that snap, and then you're in good shape for now. Come around to the back, you want to lift this piece up, and you want to go ahead and get the arms out so you can really just start separating again. You got the whole thing separated here, and you want to just take the arms and separate and lift them up in the air. So you kind of pull out, lift it up in the air, and you have your arms basically done. At that point, you're going to come around and continue on with your separation. These things are pegged in, so you don't want to break any plastic, so be careful when you do this. My advice is to just kind of get in there and lift things up in a way, or kind of down and up, I suppose. And you want to avoid from breaking these tabs. I'm a little worried that doing that over time may add some stress, but we'll see. At this point, you might as well go ahead and spin the waist, because we're going to have to. So that way you got nice free clearance here to do such a thing. Get that part out of the way. Turn it. I say you had free clearance. There, you get it right out. Turn, turn. Alright, good. So now we've got that done. Now you want to take the arms of Cliffjumper, and you want to kind of just swivel them. Again, these joints, man, blurry camera, sorry guys. You want to take these joints, they're really tight on this figure. I don't think they were that tight on first edition. I never heard anybody complain about that. But man, are they tight here. So go ahead and get that done, and then you're going to reveal the head by really just pulling it up with your thumb or with your finger. Just get it up as far as it'll go. And that'll snap in here in a minute when we pull the back piece up, so you'll see how that works out. In fact, we can go ahead and do that now. You want to bring this part up. You want to separate this. Actually, take these little bits right here, and you want to take your thumb and turn these guys in. You see where I'm saying I think this is above a 2? I really don't think a young child could do this, yet alone myself. So anyway, you get it in there just like that. And then you want to separate this, bring these tail lamps down, and this is going to lift up, and it's going to peg. Let's see if I can get in here and show you. You've got the peg on the back of the hood, and you've got this hole right there. So you're just going to lift it up and stick it in that slot, and then everything's real nice and solid. You want to come back here, come up to the arms, and you take this piece, and you literally just lift it up on the swivel, and it lays real flush up against there. Do the same thing on the other side, just like that. We're almost done, as you can see here. At this point, you want to take the chest and separate it as much as you can. You're not going to get huge separation here. I mean, you're just not. So separate it as much as you can, and then bring this one piece up. And if you'll notice that it's got a tab in there, and it really is just going to help you keep this chest separated. So separate it up, lift that piece, and it'll slot right into place and kind of keep that separation going. It's not going to click or anything, so as long as you've got that separation held, I think you're fine. Come down here to the bottom. You want to curve these tail lights or the front headlamps, and I guess we should come around here and flip this as well. So you want to flip that piece as far as it'll go, and then take these little tail or the front headlights and just let them rest up underneath, and it'll fill in that gap. It'll look really nice. To finish the arm transformation, you basically want to straighten out the arms. At that point, you want to take this wheel well, and you want to just turn it until it kind of locks into place. Doesn't snap, but it does tab in. Well, I guess it does snap if you do it hard enough. Then straighten out the arms. The wrists do turn. They're real nice and tight, so you can leave them as they are, or you can go ahead and turn them right now if you choose to. Just like that. The last step really is to take his leg and then just straighten it out. You could leave it like that if you want like your Cliffjumper a bit more squat, or you can just take this part and straighten it right up in the air like that. Man, these are tight. And then at this point, the only thing that's left is to stand him up, pose him up, and here you have Cliffjumper in his robot mode. Now this guy is full of detail. He's got paint on his arms, on his forearms. He's got great paint on his face. He's got silver paint here right up front. You've got this translucent plastic of the lights, which really shine through nice in robot mode because they're nice and clear, and you got a lot of light coming in, and it just makes it look really, really good. I mentioned the silver in the face, the translucent blue in the eyes. You also have the red painted on the roof of the car that's still showing. Again, you've got all that side detail that's still visible. On the back, you've got a little bit of car kibble, but it doesn't look horrible, and you still have all these paint cues that are showing, and the wheel rims and such. So I really think that this guy really, really pops as far as the paint is concerned when he's in his robot mode. I have to tell you, I do not own a first edition version of this Cliffjumper, but this toy with this head and that body sculpt, fantastic. I could not be more excited about this toy. I mean, this character looks completely awesome. Yes, he has the body of Transformers Prime Cliffjumper, but with the head, And just the overall, the color scheme's a little bit darker. I have to say that if you don't have a first edition, pick this guy up. If you see him in your local Toys R Us or you're in the Asian market, pick up this toy. Just a fantastic toy all the way around. He's got, considering that he's a remold, his joints are really nice and tight, almost too tight. Or if I want to move this arm, I really got to put some force in it. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not going to complain about tight joints. The head here, Cliffjumper's head, is really a sight to see in person. But it is Generation 1. When I saw pictures of this toy, I thought his head looked a little bit small. When you're holding this figure in your hands, I couldn't be more impressed with the size of this guy's head. He's got now, there are some quality control issues with these toys. There were 2 Cliffjumpers at my local Toys R Us, and the one that I didn't get had all this red kind of squiggly paint that dripped on into the plastic of the windows, which looked awful. On this toy, you can see up in the head that the silver paint on the horns kind of bled through here. That's not great, but most of these GDO toys had some type of quality issues that I saw. So if you see multiples in the stores, definitely take a look at it and make sure that the one you're getting is as close to perfect as you can get. Now, because he shares the mold with the Transformers Prime First Edition Cliffjumper, the one thing that you'll find is he also has both arms that have the weapons. So if you open up this panel and flip his hand around, you have the very, very cool weapon arm that comes across. I mean, just fantastic in this figure. I mean, I could not be more impressed with this toy. This guy is going to look so good on my shelf, and again, I couldn't be more pleased with it. Taking a look at Cliffjumper's articulation, his head's on a ball joint, so you get good movement on the head. You can go up and down and all around. Shoulders, again, are so tight, and that's great. But you've got a ball joint in those shoulders. You have a hinge here. You have a swivel up here on the arm. Waist, there's no waist articulation on this toy, but that's okay. I mean, I don't really know how they could have done it the way he's molded. Flipping around to the back. Again, everything's nice and tight back here. His legs, you got a ball joint up in here. You've got a swivel right here. You've got some foot movement. So, I mean, there's a range of poses that you can get this guy in, and again, I think he would look fantastic. Now, size comparison, let's take a look at this guy compared to the RID version of Cliffjumper. Comparing this guy to RID Cliff, you can see that he's a good bit taller than the RID version, and again, it's a remold, so if you have first edition, you already know what you're getting here. But, comparing these two side by side, I really think that you're okay to have both of these figures in your collection. They transform completely differently. The vehicle modes look almost identical, but in robot mode, it almost looks like 2 completely different characters. So, yeah, I mean, these guys, on your shelf, I think would, this guy would fit good in a Generation 1 or a Generations line. And this guy looks great on the Prime shelf, so I think it's a win all the way around. Light piping on Cliffjumper. Let's dim the lights a bit. Play some very white music. No, let's definitely not do that. But Cliffjumper's light piping, yeah, he's got great light piping. Focus him in here. Yeah, definitely good light piping on Cliffjumper. So you're not going to go wrong with that. On first edition, I don't remember it being that good. But maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, that's good too. Not quite as bright, but yeah, you're going to get a real nice set of light piping. Oh yeah. Great light piping on Cliff. That's really all I have to say about this version of Cliffjumper. Highly recommend it. If you already have first edition Cliffjumper from Transformers Prime, maybe not worth another $15 of your money. But if you don't have a first edition like me, and you have a soft spot for Generation 1, you got the head, you've got this awesome transformation, you've got this great looking toy, a definite must-have in your collection. Thank you again for watching. This is eBEFOREi Video Reviews. To help me out, give me a thumbs up, Subscribe to my channel by clicking that button right up there, and feel free to comment. I love it when people comment on my channel. I'm trying to build this thing slowly over time. We're only a couple months old, and we've done fantastic, and I have all of you to thank for that. So thank you again for your support. We'll see you again real soon.